Mohabbatein was almost like a training ground. I mean, for 8 months, we did nothing but train in different aspects of filmmaking, acting. And even in Filmi Adaएं, I was trained by Karan Johar. So
how
at that
interesting.
time, yeah. So you can't say I didn't go to film school. I think I went to the Aditya Chopra film school.
So I've made her, against her wishes, walk a lot on holidays.
Trained in scuba diving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes lied to her. Like, bas idhar hi hai, ki she's very good, but yahi hai. Like 2 hours later, she's giving me galis. VHS came, everybody said, oh, cinema's going to die. Blockbuster, everybody, cinema's going to die. DVD, cinema's going to die. OTT cinema is never going to die.
See, no two personalities staying together can be exactly equal or not have any tiffs.
Yeah.
At all. It's about learning to pick the bigger battles.
I think you have to know when to shut up and when to...
Yeah, and letting
Yeah.
the little things go, because there are many little
Yeah,
things.
Preeti, like since you had that house and that family support, maybe that's why also you were not motivated to like go out of your way to get work, right? And you were anyway getting a lot of work. But someone who has to like earn a living, support their family, maybe they'd be like, I have to push myself and like do
Yes,
that.
and they would go out there and they would do more things. Yeah.
But then because of this, have you lost out like on good films? Because from the outside, when we see you got such an amazing break, and we automatically you were in the biggest league possible in the country,
yeah.
right? So then we didn't see you work with the same people again.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Level Up podcast. Our guests today are Preeti Jhangiani and Mr. Parvin Dabas. They're a couple who've created magic not just on screen, but also off screen. One stole hearts in movies like Mohabbatein, LOC Awara Pagal Deewana, whereas the other portrayed powerful characters in films like Khosla Ka Ghosla, My Name is Khan, and Monsoon Wedding. Together, they are not just actors, but storytellers, entrepreneurs, and parents. They recently co-founded the Pro Panja League, which is India's premier arm wrestling league that returns with its high-octane Season 2 this August in Gwalior. In this conversation, we go beyond movies and discover topics such as relationships, parenting, faith, and all the quiet truths that shape a meaningful life. Stay tuned till the end to discover a new side to them, and through their journey, learn invaluable lessons that will help shape your life too. Hi Parveen ji, hi Preeti ji. Such a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
All well, Karan, doing very well.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. And I have to start with the most obvious question, and I think the audience also wants to know this. We need to know how the two of you met and how the love story started.
Thought as a big outcome.
It was an
Are there
arranged...
two versions of the story individually?
It was an arranged marriage.
It doesn't matter.
No, there aren't two versions. There is only one version.
Yeah.
There's only different subtext to the version. So yeah, we actually met at Dabbu Ratnani's wedding for the first time, and I was just passing by, and I saw Parveen sitting, and I waved hi to him, although we had never met actually.
Okay.
But it's just like a because he was a familiar face, and in any case, really, you meet so many people, and then you don't know whether you've interacted. Now you forget, and at a wedding especially. So I just waved hi to him, and he never responded, and I walked away. So then.
No, go ahead. You're doing good.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, she was waving, and I thought this is one of those moments where she's probably saying hi to somebody behind me, and I'm going to wave, and I'm going to look like an idiot. So I just, kind of went like this, and then when she, I let she walked away. So I said, let me see who she was saying hi to, and I looked behind, and there was a wall behind me, and I was like, oh shit, she was saying hi to me, and she's going to think I'm rude or something. So I went running looking for her. Yeah. And I found her. I said,
secretly happy also.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't. So I would, I went and said, I'm, really sorry. I think you were saying hi to me, and I didn't respond. I thought you were saying hi to somebody else. She said, it's okay. It's, I just thought we knew each other. So that was it. And then later we did a film together. But during the film also, I mean, even though we were kind of opposite each other, apart from in front of the camera, we didn't have much interaction because when we would have time off, this was in Manali, so I was going hiking and I was taking pictures and everything. And also, we had this table tennis tournament going on.
Yeah.
Parveen has a lot of varied interests. So like after shooting, he was always off somewhere or doing something. And in fact, Sharat Saxena was my father in the film. And I remember we were sitting during a scene and we were chatting, and he's telling, वो लड़का थोड़ा अजीब नहीं लगता जब देखो मधुमक्खी की फोटो दे रहा है और trekking पे जा रहा है. So I was like, he's a bit strange. But yeah, we actually got talking then during the promotions of the film.
And that's how it
And
started.
that's when we started dating.
But from what I can see, is it also two introverts that have gotten together?
Yes, actually, that was also part of the reason why we didn't interact so
So
much
much
on
in the
the
film.
set. Plus, you're very busy learning your lines and this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that.
yeah, of
And
course.
Yeah, we were never in each other's face,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Although it was Manali, the
Yeah.
most romantic
Most
place on
beautiful.
earth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
during the shoot we didn't.
That's
But
beautiful.
during the promotions, you have so much free time and you're relaxed.
Yeah.
And you can actually interact.
But I actually love being in such a place because, you know, I love hiking and being out and photography and all. So I actually use that kind of a place. Okay, when I'm shooting, but when I'm not, by a day off, then I, you know, go
Yeah.
off, you know,
No,
somewhere.
and it's also rare, I think, for people to have varied interests when they're in the films, because usually they're so consumed
Yeah.
by themselves and the industry.
Yeah.
You know, this is so true.
Yeah.
You're saying what you're saying is very true. In fact,
Yeah.
I found that very refreshingly different
exactly,
in
yeah.
Parveen. And also when we actually started dating and taking holidays together. Now that's a side that I discovered. Because holidays are just
Yeah.
not about always just lying on that sunbed. You got to do stuff. So we went.
Yeah, so I've made her, against her wishes, walk a lot on holidays.
Yeah.
Trained in scuba diving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes lied to her, like, "Bas idhar hi hai," ki she's very good, but yahi hai. Like 2 hours later, she's giving me
I
galis.
learned very quickly to leave my heels. I fancy chappals at home.
But it makes life
Only like
interesting. no,
Nike.
sir?
I remember once we were in Hong Kong as well, and we were hiking with some friends, something called the Dragon's Back. And after like 2-3 hours of hiking,
Yeah.
she was like fuming, "This is not why I came to Hong Kong." you know?
It wasn't some friends. It was him, his sister, and her husband.
No, plus
And they're all great. Oh, yeah,
Poonam
there were some
Sachin,
friends.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
a
were,
friend.
And
So
they're
it was-
all. These are all like trekkers and walkers.
But I think
I
initially.
mean, now us Mumbaikers, we do.
For me,
I
also,
think
I'm not
that's-
someone who loves hiking.
That way
Hiking?
we have different views of holidays. I like, you know, going out and yeah, but she likes the luxury
Yeah.
holidays. So we kind of
Not bad. I
found
don't
a middle
just
path.
like the luxury.
So we kind of found the middle path.
Yeah. But I think it's beautiful in a way because both of you are learning from each other.
Yeah,
And you grow new interests together. But now that the relationship has lasted so long, and for our viewers, if I have to
Don't
ask,
jinx it.
no, absolutely wishing only the best for you guys.
बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम हो गया यूजुअली इतना नहीं होता है
तो वही सीखना है अभी. So, like, if I have to ask both of you one thing, because of which you think the relationship has lasted so beautifully for this long.
My patience.
His good nature, his humorous nature. To seriously answer your
seriously.
question, see, no two personalities staying together can be exactly equal or not have any tiffs
Yeah.
at all. It's about learning to pick the bigger battles.
I think you have to know when to shut up and when to.
Yeah, and letting
Yeah.
the little things go, because there are many little
Yeah.
things in life in general, and you learn that not just in relationships but in friendships.
Yeah.
And sometimes people react in ways you won't know why, and you must put yourself in their shoes as well. And if I was in their place, I would probably react the same way. So I think it's just experience and learning to fight the larger battle.
Let's get to your careers now. And I think one thing that I saw in common between both of you was that both of you had such an amazing start. Mohabbatein, of course. Obviously, you worked in the South before, but in Bollywood, Mohabbatein, and for you, Monsoon Wedding. What happens is that I'd imagine, like, obviously that's a blessing. It got both of you so much love from the entire country. But at the same time, was it a blessing and a curse? Because when you work with, imagine like YRF and Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan, now what else can you do that can match that or up that? And similarly, like working with Meera Nair and doing such an
I don't
amazing
think
film.
it's about matching or upping it. It's always about just trying different things.
Yeah.
I've been lucky to have been a part of a couple of cult films.
Yeah.
Starting with Monsoon and then Khosla and
Yeah.
a couple of others and a lot of big ones. And I'm still starting something now next week, which is I think going to be huge.
Yeah.
I have a huge Amazon show coming out pretty soon. So it's also about doing what you enjoy doing rather than just everything that comes your way. Which is also a way of looking at it, right? Because out of those, a lot of things, some things work, some things don't. But I think, at least for me, it's important for me to get along with the people, I'm going to be working with, or at least have a sense that I will, because otherwise I get tortured very quickly. I have,
You're also spending many months with them.
If I feel somebody is not putting in the amount of effort they should be, I lose interest with them very quickly, and I lose respect, very quickly. So it's important for me to know that people are involved in, what they want me to be involved in.
For me, I don't think it can ever be a bad thing to have a film like that, because still today, if people meet me, they still relate to the character and remember me as the character and love me for the character.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it can ever be a bad thing.
That's true. And like, for example, like even if viewers are seeing you in a salwar kurta today, I'm sure they are really happy because, it reminds them of
Yeah,
Mohabbatein.
and I'm wearing one after long. So.
So, but at the same time, like you've done Awara Pagal Deewana, LOC and all these other movies.
Yes.
But, does it irk you that, okay, everyone's only like first memory is Mohabbatein, always?
Yeah, first memory is Mohabbatein, but a lot of my South films as well, like
course.
Tamdu and Narsimha Naidu, but also Awara Pagal Deewana, people love it.
People love the film.
I have a film that did very well called Chand Ke Paar Chalo. People remember that as well. So people do remember a lot of other films.
And the only thing that irks me is every time people put up a story of hers, they'll always use that same song. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but
you can't break away from that. You're stuck with it.
Yeah, he's completely right. Yeah. That could be the.
While this was a point of commonality that you all had a great start, one thing that's different is that you have formal training in acting, and you have been more impulsive and maybe trained on set.
Yeah, completely.
So, what has been the advantage and disadvantage of being trained and not trained? So,
for sure, I think it would have really helped me if I would have been to a training school, but I never. Frankly, I haven't ever given it much thought. Everything's happened very, for me, it's like it was written. I was just 17 and I was basically just thrown into modeling, acting, and everything was going everything was happening on its own. I don't think I had any part to play in it. And then Mohabbatein was almost like a training ground. I mean, for 8 months, we did nothing but train in different aspects of filmmaking, acting. Voice throwing lessons, theatre training with Barry John, Hindi diction, dance, Kathak, film, folk dance, everything to do with. So I think there could have been no better training ground or training school.
Best in the industry were
training school than that. Even in Filmi Adaएं, I was trained by Karan Johar. So
how
at that time, so it was. I don't think there could have been a better training. You can't say I didn't go to film school. I think I went to the Aditya Chopra film school.
But do you think having that no formal training behind you and not having the pressure of having a method initially, did the impulsive acting help you?
Yes, I think it did. I think, and I think for sure to be on screen, there needs to be that some X factor that one already has in them, or one to look natural on screen. One must look natural. I think in anything that you do, even when you're playing a character, it must look as natural as possible.
Absolutely.
And that can't always come with training. I do believe that.
Absolutely. And to the contrary, if I have to ask, having a method, does it always help?
See, I think the word method is overused or misused rather. Let me say that. The reason I say that is, what one was taught was how to approach a script and a character and make it your own. It's not about becoming somebody else, right? It's about, you get a script. Now, what do you do with it, right? You can say the lines and you'll figure out different ways of saying lines. But in life, that's not what we're doing, right? Even if you're being that natural, you're not figuring out a way to say it or reading, yaar, मैं ऐसे बोलूँगा. Right now, we're talking, we're not already prefiguring that out.
Absolutely.
Right? So, the way to approach it, there is, something you work on that if you were in those circumstances. And all of us, under different circumstances, would become slightly different people with some similar characteristics. And we're all capable of doing very different things given the nature of the circumstance, right? So it all depends on what is your character's circumstances and situation in that script, right? So the way I see it is, the way I always approach something is, I use my head before the shoot, but during the shoot I use my heart. So I throw away anything I might have worked on, and I just try to be as instinctive and in the moment as possible. And it's not an intellectual way of working, it's more an intuitive and emotional way of working, because I feel always you have to get to the emotional core of what makes a character tick, while also having fun with it.
Yeah.
So once you've done all your homework, whatever sticks,
Yeah.
and you try to have, engage yourself on the days of the shoot.
No, I can so relate to this as a musician actually, because we are training in classical for so many months.
Yeah.
But when I'm singing, I can't be thinking about okay, now there's a
Yeah,
high
yeah,
note.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
I have to surrender to the
Yeah,
emotion and let things
absolutely.
happen.
It's the same
It's
thing.
the same thing,
And I
yeah.
feel sometimes the issue is when you take the word method and the whole thing a little too seriously.
Seriously.
That's when you become overly intellectualized, or you take yourself too seriously. That अरे मैंने training किया है उसको मैं ऐसे approach करूँगा. So that is something
Yeah.
at least I avoid.
And I think, like, I'm not talking when it comes for you, but in general, like people that come from, say, NSD or something, maybe it also becomes a burden for them because now they always feel like I have to be very serious about it, do this in a certain way, which is not necessary always, and it might work against
I think
them.
it's you get caught in the trap of trying to be seen as a serious actor.
Serious actor, yeah.
And you have to
So-
enjoy your work.
Yeah.
That if you're not enjoying it, then you're not going to last very long.
Yeah. And you're spending most of your life working, right, on
Yeah.
set, so certainly. And that makes sense. And while Preeti, you mentioned that things were happening naturally for you, while I think that's, not the case for most people that are outsiders from the industry. Parvin, I'd imagine it was a bit harder for you to break into the industry and land your first role.
Oh, yeah. I actually did. I was modeling in ads. I wasn't modeling on the ramp, but I was modeling in advertisements for a good 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Because the first 6 months, I had like absolutely no work.
Yeah.
Do the usual hit the pavement, and this is the days before, of course, digital, and literally physically going to all of these offices, giving your pictures,
Yeah.
giving auditions in Famous Studio, and Everest and a couple of the others, mostly Famous. And but once I started getting work,
Yeah.
I had a lot of work. I think I did
Yeah.
about 50 ads in
Oh, wow.
in 3-4 years, and it was a pretty comfortable lifestyle. But I'm glad I, was able to break out of it with the films I started doing, because I had always trained to be an actor, but actually I was being hired as an actor in these advertisements. It is just that because they're ads, you were seen as a model.
Yeah.
But I was being hired as an
As
actor.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But people that are coming as outsiders and have not been born in the industry, they don't really, even if you get that first break and even if you make it big, after that handling the industry can be really difficult, right? It's one to have training in acting, but it's another to really understand the business of how things work. And it's also, these are things that we hear, but as insiders, maybe that there are certain camps, and if you're in that camp, you will get cast multiple times, even if you have flops. But, and maybe sometimes newcomers are replaced and, their favorite people are cast. So have you experienced these sort of things?
I think actually understanding the business of filmmaking and the business of acting is more important than
Yeah.
sometimes acting itself.
Yeah,
Of course,
exactly, yeah.
that doesn't mean you can be shit and you'll be,
Yeah.
you'll still be cast. Though I've seen that a lot also.
Yeah.
But you got what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think it's people wanting to work with you.
Yeah.
You can't be an ass, though sometimes you can also, and but you know what I mean. People, it's about relationships also. It's people wanting to work with you again and again. People being comfortable with you. People knowing that you will take the directions that they're going to give you, and also about you being good enough that people will like you when they see
Yeah.
you as well. So I think it's a
Definitely.
mix.
Yeah, it is about relationships. And that
Yeah.
is not just in this industry, but
Outside
the
as
case
well.
with
That's true.
anywhere else.
But then for someone who's new and trying to break in, would you suggest that they should invest time in like somehow reaching parties and meeting the right people, networking?
Certainly, sometimes you can like get your first break because somebody spots you at a party. Yes, of course,
Yeah.
everything, anything can happen for anyone.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think-
should go out and meet as many people
yeah,
as
you
possible.
Should, you should,
It
for
helps.
sure. Yeah, it's just, I don't think I'm the best person to answer this because my journey was very different. And since I was born and brought up in Mumbai, it was
Yeah.
just easier for me. I had a home to go to. I didn't have to pay my rent.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, I didn't have to struggle. I didn't have to think when will my next role be or what if it doesn't come or things.
Yeah.
I didn't think about all of that because I was there. But yes, for others who do come from outside,
Though,
it's a make.
though I was never good at that at all. Going to
Yeah.
parties and talking to people. I used to try to avoid it as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Because naturally you want your craft to do the job, right?
Well, yes, but that's a little idealistic
Yeah,
way of thinking.
it
It's just
doesn't
that I
work
was
like
never
that, yeah.
good at
going
and talking
I think
and doing
fake
the small
conversations.
talk and everything. I was just never
I think
good
Neetu
at
is
it.
very
But Preeti, like since you had that house and that family support, maybe that's why also you were not motivated to like go out of your way to get work, right? And you were anyway getting a lot of work. But someone who has to like earn a living, support their family, maybe they'd be like, I have to push myself and
Yeah.
like do
Yes,
that.
and they would go out there and they would do more things. Yeah.
But then because of this, have you lost out like on good films? Because from the outside, when we see you got such an amazing break, and we automatically you were in the biggest league possible in the
Yeah,
country,
yeah.
right? So then we didn't see you work with the same people again.
Yeah. See, I may have, but I haven't given that much thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't given that much thought. My life has been full.
Yeah.
I have, as far as I remember, I've been constantly working. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's
constantly. Even when we were married, after 2 days, I left for my events and shows in the States.
Yeah.
2 months I was touring the States, and then we started our company immediately. I mean, so I've never given this much thought, and I think one mustn't really dwell on
It
these
doesn't
things.
make
Everybody
sense,
has
yeah.
a journey, and everybody learns from their journeys. So if you keep thinking कि ये करना चाहिए था, ये किया मैंने, ये नहीं, that
Doesn't
everybody
help.
has that.
Yeah.
You're not. Yeah, it's not just you.
Because see, in some ways, I'm like the voice of the audience right now, and I can say that honestly, the audience does feel that both of you have not gotten your due. Even though you have a great body of work,
Yeah.
people really want to see you again and again, and a lot more of you, and even in bigger roles. And I think in a way, the audience can also understand that there's a lot more that goes into like how people land projects and they don't. One other thing that I've heard is that social media following is really crucial now to land roles. Is that the thing?
I think for some, and I think it's unfortunate because if you see, the audience doesn't really care for it.
Yeah.
It might get some publicity, but it will never get the audience's appreciation. And there's too many examples of shows or even films sometimes
Yeah.
where the casting might have happened because of following another, and people won't watch because it's very different to press on somebody's post for a 2-second like,
Yeah.
and it's very different to actually turn on the TV and give that much time to watch something. So these are two very, very
And even pay when you're going to the
yeah,
theater
or even
to
pay.
watch,
These are
yeah.
two very, very different things. But I think people are learning, and if you see most of the shows which really work and which people love has nothing to do with whether you are following that person or not.
Yeah.
A lot of time it's just word of mouth. A great show always finds its audience, and it has nothing to do whether you follow that person or not.
Yeah.
It's just whether you want to see that show and how much you like the performances in it.
Absolutely. But in an environment like this, when you are also trying your best to get the roles that you deserve, actually, do you ever feel the temptation to like call paps or something like that just to be more in the limelight?
No. I think it's. I think we're both very secure people as well. In knowing what we're capable of, and the fact that everybody has ups and downs, and everybody, right? The biggest to the smallest, and we're still continuously working.
Absolutely,
like she said. So
we're doing so many different things. Actually,
Yeah.
we're doing. I don't think there's any time right now to think and call the paps.
yeah.
Even in your personal life, actually, you all have so many varied interests. Then work-wise, you all are doing
Yes.
so many things. Where's the time?
And
Yeah.
kids, and kids also.
And kids can
But
take up all
having
the
said that, I
time.
think people are going to see a lot more of Parveen this year also and next year. He's
wow.
has a couple of very big projects
Then
coming
people
up.
will be very happy to hear that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to fame actually, which is a byproduct of your job. But at the same time, does fame put some unnecessary pressures on you? Because I'd imagine while you're acting on set, you're also sometimes acting the moment you step out of the house. So if you had to, and I'd like to hear from both of you individually, that from the time you leave the house, in what ways do you think you're different?
Now I think I'm very bad. I will not even put on chapstick. I've become very bad. So really, see, again, I saw fame at a very young age.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's become it's a part of my life, and and I think, frankly, luckily, I'm glad I haven't taken it too seriously ever, because fame is transient. It comes, it goes. Sometimes you come to places where people love you and are crazy about you, and you go to places where people don't care because they watch different kinds of cinema.
Yeah.
So it's all very transient also, and also depending on place to place. So I think one must not take fame too seriously,
seriously.
and concentrate more on your work. in your craft, whatever that may be.
But at the same time, like I'd imagine if you're stepping out to a mall or something, people are obviously noticing, and then there's a pressure that you have to look a certain way, right, all the time. And this one is also aging, which is fine.
Yeah, certainly.
But then a lot of people in the industry feel the pressure to like use Botox and stuff like that to go against age and look a certain way.
I think both me and Parveen have similar views on this. I think you have to age gracefully, and that natural is the best there is.
Yeah.
For everything. Anything.
Though we don't judge people who do it, because that's each to each his own.
Yeah, this is personally for me.
Yeah.
And I think for Parveen as well.
That's what I keep thinking actually, that Waida Rahman is one of the most
Yeah,
beautiful
exactly, one of the
people,
most-
even
yeah.
today.
And even
Still.
now, so graceful.
So
and-
beautiful. Exactly. So it's how you carry yourself. And
Yes, it's how you carry it. It's your confidence. It's your grace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I think during Mohabbatein you mentioned you were getting like letters written in blood and stuff. So
Yeah, lots of letters.
crazy
yes.
stuff. Yeah. No, but as people who are in Bollywood right now, what do you think is going wrong in the industry? Why are the films not working? And you are someone who's also worked in the South, and they are doing really well now. So if you can see a contrast between the two and what's going right there and wrong here.
In the beginning, when I was working, there was a huge contrast. I mean, I wouldn't put Mohabbatein in that category because I think Yashraj Films and Adi was always a different breed.
Yeah.
But when I did a lot of other films and when I did South films, it was a world of a difference because for them, I felt that their filmmaking is everything. Their life is films. They wake up at 5 and films. The whole unit would be sharp on time, including the biggest of heroes. If it was Switzerland, I remember Mohan Babu, one of my heroes, waking up at 4 a.m. to do his makeup and his wig or whatever was his look for the film and being ready for the shot at 6 a.m. every time. And I found them very disciplined, very hardworking. You have to be like on your toes all the time. The dance steps have to be perfect and there's no room for error. And since we didn't know the languages, I had language coaches also be there just for me so that I could say the lines perfectly the way the director wanted and things like that. It was very, very professional and hard work.
It was the passion that comes with
it was the passion. Now, of course, I think even in Hindi films, they are, everybody knows the value of everyone else's time and everyone is on time. And
they've got it more professional.
Yeah, at that time, of course, there was many films that I was getting lines on the set or they were writing the lines on the set even at the time. Now, I think it's changed a lot.
Yeah. But Parveen, what do you think has changed in Bollywood, or why are films not working anymore?
I wouldn't say films are not working because I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. I think there are a lot of good films, and there's no reason why. Okay, it's just the audience taste sometimes, right? You can go into the usual, there's a lot of OTT content and this and that. Yeah, because there's a certain kind of content which used to make it to the theater before, which is making it to OTT. But still, in the theater, you still, I still prefer to watch certain films in the theater, right? Because of the experience, you're eating popcorn. Yeah. So I love watching films in the theater, and I think everything is just a phase sometimes, And I'll give you an example. See, when VHS came, everybody said, "Oh, cinema's going to die." Blockbuster, everybody, cinema's going to die. DVD, cinema's going to die. OTT cinema is never going to die. People, it's a tradition. People love watching cinema. People love watching, films. And, as filmmakers as well, you are always trying to, of course, make something entertaining, make something good. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. That's just the audience taste. You can never second guess them, but you are just trying to use your own, intuition as much as possible to make as good a film as possible in the genre you're making it. Right. So I always, like I said, I'm a, glass half full kind of guy. And I think, just phases sometimes. And there's a lot of films which do well. And there's a lot of brilliant cinema. Yeah. The way I see it is, there's a lot of really great, the cinema being made, a lot of great shows coming out. So I think this is actually, I feel, a golden period for Indian media, in the Indian industry, because there are different platforms for making all kinds of, different. I don't like using the word content because it becomes a little dry, but all different kinds of forms of media and art, let's say, for people to view, like I said, the OTT shows are just an extended view of films in a way. They're another kind of cinematic art, and you get a larger canvas, and there's so many great things and great shows out there. So I actually feel it's a great time, to make films. Yeah, the business side of it, sometimes you hear, OTT is not picking up this right now because they got to be careful. So that's the business side, which I feel always there's some course correction, and then everything, becomes all right. And, so that's just the kind of business side of it.
Yeah, maybe it's a transition phase where even the industry is getting a grasp on what the audience wants right now after the OTT change. So rightly said. Both of you have also worked with someone that the whole of India loves, which is Shah Rukh Khan. My name is Khan, and Mohabbatein, of course. Individually, can you help us understand what makes this man so extraordinary? Like, what about his personality?
His passion. He's very, very passionate. I was fortunate enough to have seen him sometimes in school. He was dating Gauri. Gauri was in my school at that time, and then he was my senior in college as well. He used to play hockey. He directed one of our fashion shows once. So he's just always been very, very passionate about what he does, and you can sense that even if you see him, when he's acting, it's that passion which really comes through. He's very focused on his work and always trying to be the best he can be. So that's why it's always a pleasure, working with him, because he's always also very giving as an actor. He's always very concerned about people around him, and actually, you can do this, you can be seen more. So that it's a great experience always, working with him.
Yeah, he's very charming. Very, like Parveen said, very always very aware of everything that's going on the set, and everybody else is, and which makes the whole scene. You must be that well prepared yourself so that you are looking at in the scene in its entirety. For me also, there was a certain line in my one of my songs, the holy song, where I had to sing, and I have quite a deep voice, and I'm always very if I had to sing, I'm always very self-conscious about it. And when I couldn't get the take many times, he eventually told me that you have to actually sing that line for the emotion to come out. And so it doesn't matter. Forget about everything else. Don't be self-conscious about it. Just sing it out loud. So I sang it out loud.
And then it worked.
And the shot was okay.
It's also humility in a way, because when you're that big and you're still focusing on giving, and these are things that people will take away, right? He was
sitting on the ground. He was chatting with spot boys about, their life in general, learning from them, their lives. So I
can only imagine the nightmare of having Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, and not being nervous for you to work at that point.
The good part was that I was very young, like I said. So when you're young, you have the confidence of youth.
Absolutely. But how the industry is also evolving right now. We hear from many senior actors that even at this stage, after having worked for 20 or 30 years, they are still asked for auditions sometimes. Does that still happen even with established actors like yourselves?
No, absolutely nothing wrong in that, I think.
But people have seen so much of your work already, right? So what do you have?
But sometimes you need to see, not that I have been a director, but I think as a director, one must need to see how that actor would look in his vision. Okay. And sometimes if it's, especially if it's like a completely different kind of character, and that actor, sometimes you just see that actor in the same, it's very difficult for you to imagine him or her doing something different. So I don't see anything wrong in doing auditions, and I think that people do still ask for them even at various stages. I mean, you've heard of Kareena Kapoor auditioning for the Amir Khan film that she did. Lal Singh Chadda.
I heard the story of you actually auditioning for Khosla Ka Ghosla, and then him liking it so much that he almost changed the character and made it as per how you did it.
His exact words were, "This is not how I saw the character so far, but now this is how I see the character." But
that's such a compliment in itself.
I did take it as a compliment. I took it as a compliment, and I just gave my rendition of what I thought the character was. But also, he was trying to test me a lot, which was great. In that we didn't do the scenes that he gave me, but we just went into a total improvisation. So we just went into a total improv. But that's the whole thing, is when you are the character and when you are totally there, you don't have to think so much about a line guy, this and that. You're just going with the flow. And I had a certain way of looking at how this character is, because I had a very emotional view of him as well. And if you see the character, because it's Khosla Ka Ghosla a lot of times is seen as a comedy, but if you actually look at it, it's a very strong father-son film. it's a father-son relationship film. Throughout the film, you see where it starts, you see where it ends. It's just that it's such a brilliantly made film because of the way it's written and the scenes and everything. So all of those scenes and the lines, all stick with you. But if you see the through line, the reason it worked so well and became a cult film is because of the emotion. The emotion came from a father and son who didn't understand each other, a son who stays back to fight for his father, and two who learn how to respect each other by the end.
Yeah. It beautifully showed the relationship where often father and son can't express love to each other, but inherently how much they do love each other, and that came across so beautifully.
Absolutely. And if you see, the great thing about the film was you never knew there was such a fine line between comedy and drama in so many scenes, like even the drinking scene, with the cheers and this and that. But when he says he's going to America, the scene all of a sudden turns unpredictable. You don't know where it's going to. And I think that was the beauty of the film. There was a lot of scenes and moments like that where all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. So but that was the challenge as well in that film, at least for me, is because I was surrounded by such great actors with such great lines, but I was playing an introvert who didn't. But you have to stay true to who you are and secure and not be, like I said, worry about that. And I think that was great because the film really works because of that, And I think Anupamji's role was, great as well. And what a brilliant performance. I think it's the cast which really made it amazing that everybody really, connected with those roles. And I think
and some brilliant writing.
Even Baman
Sani,
was fantastic.
Baman, Ranveer, everybody really got into, the whole vibe of the film and the characters.
Absolutely. A brilliant film, one of my favorites.
Thanks.
We earlier just touched upon parenting, and I wanted to understand that both of you as parents, firstly, I've heard that you've kept your kids away from social media. Why was that a conscious choice?
Yes, you'll not see them anywhere on our social media.
And
they don't have.
Yeah, I think it's just very important that, the kids, at least after 14, 15, before that, of course, we've always kept them off, but even after that, 14, 15, 16, be in front of people when they want to be. Because if you're putting, it's kind of like, they may not want to be. They don't know what the hell is going on.
It's not their choice,
It's not their choice. And I think one has to be careful with social media a bit, especially with young minds. So that was always a conscious decision.
And now, if I have to ask both of you individually, that compared to how you were raised in a different generation, how do you think you're different as a parent compared to your own parents? What are you doing differently?
हम अपने बच्चों को पीटते नहीं हैं. And yeah, she's never, but मैं तो बहुत पिटा.
I think I'm like, Parveen is probably very different from me, but I think I'm like my parents only. I think I'm like my mother and my father.
Because you also had a very free.
It was a very
right?
free. I was never told what to. In fact, I think I should tell. I mean, I need to control my boys a lot more than my parents needed to control me and my sister. So we were never told what to wear, what to do, what time to come home.
Okay.
Yeah, there was never any talk about that at all.
I think once you have that freedom, then that sense of rebellion also doesn't come because you're like, what do I fight against?
Probably. We never told not to have boyfriends. It was a very understood or done thing that he cared once 16, 17. It's a natural
progression. Yeah, that will happen. But if you have to look at it, is it more difficult in today's generation to be a strict parent?
I don't look at it in terms of strict, but yeah, you have to still be a parent.
Yeah.
There has to be discipline, right? You can't be all woke about it, for lack of a better term. You can't be overly woke
line
about
between
it.
being
I
a
think
friend.
there has to be more. You have to be more vigilant.
And you have to remember, you are trying to raise great human beings as well and great individuals, right? And they're kids. You're their parents, so you have to be parents.
Yeah.
They also need parents, no matter what their friend and this and that. They want to be cool, but they still need parents. They still need guidance.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And Parveen, recently, unfortunately, you had a major accident, which took all of us aback. But when things like that happen and near death experiences happen, does that create a mindset shift where you realize that, okay, I have only one life and I want to lead it in a certain way?
Well, you do believe in God a lot more. Let's just say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's just say that. And yeah, you do realize that you are mortal, and you have to live. Though I've always believed in living my life, to the fullest. But you do also realize some things are meant to happen, and some things are out of your control. And you can't overly plan things, and so.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, but you do believe in God a lot more. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also realize that you have limited time, so you need to like express love to your loved ones and do the things that really matter to you. Because otherwise, I think we are all living in a false belief that life is endless.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
not the truth. You guys are working together. You've done films earlier, but now you all are working together as entrepreneurs as well. You guys have co-founded the Pro Panja League. Can you tell us a bit more about it? And I know the next season is coming very soon in August. So can you tell us about what it is, how it started?
It's
I'll
the
let
world's
Praveen start.
biggest arm wrestling league, Pro Panja League. And, we had a great first season on Sony Sports, and our second season starts August 5th also on Sony Sports.
Yeah.
And I've always loved sports, and I've been a combat sport fan. And when I was looking for a sport to be for us to be actively involved in, of course, I've also done Panja in school and college, and I was looking for a sport which I felt would be massy but also Indian,
Yeah.
and connect. So I think Panja had all of those. The only thing it didn't have was nobody saw it as nobody had seen it as a professional sport.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it as kind of a hobby or recreational kind of thing, that you've done. But I think that was the benefit also, is that there was a clean slate in a way, in terms of how we could market and promote it, and a large part of it was packaging, marketing, awareness. So we actually spent 3-4 years growing the sport, doing various tournaments and everything before we came out with the league. And of course, it's not been easy. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and but the good thing is we've got a big audience now, and we've done over 1 billion views on social media in the last 2.5 years, all organic, which is great, which shows people are watching, and we've made it a very entertaining sport, and people love to watch it. And I think it's going to be India's biggest combat sport.
No, it's absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy that both of you have backed this sport, because I think it really needed people like you to back it.
And we've been very, very fortunate. We have Mr. Sunil Shetty sir as a partner,
Yeah.
and he's been very encouraging and always a big guiding light and pushing it. So we've been very grateful for that as well.
No, absolutely, and I'm sure the audience is really going to support this as well. And I really hope that we get to see both of you a lot more in films. And with this, we end today's podcast. Thank you so much for your time. I've learned so much. I'm sure my audience has learned so much. Would you have any parting words?
Yeah, watch Pro Panja League coming August 5th, 7 to 9 p.m. on Sony Sports, and 5 to 7 on OTT. We're just doing the deal, and we'll announce it soon. But so it's actually, it starts at 5 to 7. There's an exclusive fights which come only on OTT, and then 7 to 9 it's on Sony Sports and the OTT.
10-3.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but very entertaining. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I
if
think
you're
we'll
coming to
all,
Gwalior, can come and watch it in Gwalior.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
that's where it's going to be.
I think we'll all mark our calendars and do
Yeah,
that.
please do.
Yeah.
Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
talking
Thanks.
to you.
Likewise. To our audience, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, share this with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. I'll see you in another episode. Lots of love. Bye.